So basically, we've learned all we can up to this point of the game. We can get some historical information.
Almost 25,000 of your years ago, there existed near this region of space an association of star-faring races called the Sentient Milieu. This group formed over several thousand years to mutually enrich their respective cultures to provide a safe creche for emerging sentient species and to afford themselves a degree of protection from external hostilities via military alliance. Of the 7 most active milieu members, the most famous race, indeed, you know them well, Captain, were the Urquan.
Yeah, we already know that.
The Urquan evolved on a harsh planet, orbiting a star outside this region of space. They were solitary predators, like your praying mantis captain, or Overlord, who had a very limited set of social behaviors, most of which dealt with sex. Since they had to compete for survival against many physically superior species, the Urquan evolved intelligence and tool use in much the same way as your own species. The Urquan also learned to master their fierce territoriality to build a cooperative planetary culture. When the Urquan were discovered by the Taeo, they had just begun exploring their solar system in crude atomic vehicles. Although the Urquan attacked what they thought to be an invader, the Taeo were patient. They explained the purpose of the sentient milieu and offered the Urquan membership. The Urquan recognized the benefits that such a system provided, and once more conquered the hunting beast within themselves to become cooperative, productive members of the milieu. This lasted for several thousands of years.
Yep, we knew about that too.
Just over 20,000 years ago, when your ancestors were learning to chart the course of the moon and stars on animal horns, the sentient milieu spanned 500 light years and included the membership of 100 worlds. Like all other star travelers, they had discovered ruins and relics of a far more ancient culture, which your species calls the Precursors. Explorers from many species spent their lives trying to piece together this ancient mystery, but of all races, the Urquan were the most bold adventurers. Their scouts, flying single ships, penetrated far into uncharted space and landed a million worlds. On one such mission, a young Urquan made planetfall on a small, life-bearing alien world to identify some anomalous energy readings, occasionally a sign of precursor installations. Instead, the Urquan found a small, hideous creature, a Dimiari. Before the scout was able to defend itself, the Dimiari creature took control of the Urquan's mind and commanded the scout to place the Dimiari aboard the Urquan's ship, along with hundreds of its evil brood. Then, the Urquan returned to the heart of the milieu, landing on its capital planet. Within hours, every resident of the planet was a Dimiari slave. Within a month, Dimiari compelled starships and spread the evil, psychic creatures across the entire milieu.
Wow. We knew about that though.
When the Dimiari took control of the milieu, one race fought back. the Taelo. These slow, quiet creatures were silicon-based life forms, but bore little resemblance to the modern Shenjesu. Taelo were natural immunes to the Dinyare's psychic compulsion. They were unaffected by the creature's power, and the Dinyare would not permit anyone to exist outside their control. So they ordered the remaining races of the milieu to attack and destroy the Taelo home planet. This planet was one of the few milieu worlds located in this region of space. I believe you call their star Delta Vulpeculae. Their home was a moon revolving about the second planet. I'm sad to say that the Taelo were indeed eliminated. However, at the time of their devastation, they had completed a device which they thought would give other races psychic immunity like their own. What happened to this device, this shield? It's hard to say. Maybe it was destroyed in the attack on their home world. Maybe not.
Well, we already have that.
In the Dinyare's new empire, the Urquan were the favored slaves. This is probably because the Urquan were the most psychically sensitive, the most easily compelled. As the centuries of Dinyare dominance passed, what was once the sentient milieu deteriorated and degenerated into a great galactic gulag. Alien races which did not serve with the efficiency and speed demanded by the Dinyare were ruthlessly burned from the faces of their worlds. The agents of this genocide were inevitably the Dinyare's favored pet, the Urquan. After almost 2,500 years of unrelenting Dinyare control, there were only 4 living member races of the once great sentient milieu. By this point, the Dinyare had used genetic manipulation to split the Urquan into 2 subspecies. The green Urquan. Scientists, technicians, and administrators who were responsible for maintaining the limited infrastructure of the Dinyare civilization, and the black Urquan, who filled the ranks of basic laborer and combat soldier. Then, a chance discovery by an Urquan named Kazerza led to the violent overthrow of the Dinyare slave empire.
Well, we already know what that is.
The Urquan named Kazerza was a green, a researcher specializing in repairing the mental damage inflicted by long-term exposure to the Dinyare's psychic compulsion. By this point in history, the Dinyare had grown lax in their dominance, and on occasion accidentally permitted their slaves moments of self-direction. Kazerza was able to use those few scattered minutes to compose a theory. From its observations, Kazerza realized that when a slave died, the Dinyare disconnected from the slave's mind, lest it too be dragged down to death. Further, the Urquan scientist uncovered the fact that when a slave underwent great pain, the Dinyare temporarily disconnected, but that the degree of pain had to be extreme, nearly lethal. chose its moment carefully. It waited until it was near an open transmission unit. Then, in a short moment of mental freedom, the Urquan injected itself with a dose of acidic poison, sending incredible waves of pain through its long body. In the few moments before its death, Kazerza was able to wrest control of the transmitter to send word of its discovery across the planet and into space as well. Before the Dinyari knew what was happening, Urquan everywhere were hacking at their own bodies with chunks of glass, burning themselves horribly, doing anything that would give them the few seconds of freedom necessary to find the nearest Dinyari and crush the bleeding creature. As they gained longer and longer periods of control, the Urquan developed new tools and weapons to destroy their evil masters. The most gruesome of these devices was the excruciator, a mechanism which was inserted directly into the brain and generated a constant stream of agony. The Dinyari could not bring themselves to make the necessary mental connection with these tortured Urquan. They were slaughtered by the thousands. The Urquan slave revolt was won.
That's a bit more in depth than the Urquan themselves told us. It's pretty interesting. I wonder how the Milner may know that.
When the last Urquan was free of psychic compulsion, when the last free Dinyari was dead, the combined might of the Urquan starfleets met in orbit above the Dinyari homeworld. They had come together to make two important decisions. First, how to punish the few frightened Dinyari left below on the planet's surface. Second, how to ensure that never again would the Urquan be made slaves. The first decision was made swiftly. The Dinyari would not be allowed to die. That was too kind of fate. Instead, the creatures would be genetically modified into sub-sentience. They would become dumb animals. These low creatures would be further debased by serving the Urquan for all eternity in the most demeaning way the Urquan could imagine, acting as translators, making physical contact with other species, whom the Urquan now considered grossly inferior to themselves and revolting. The second decision, how to ensure their freedom permanently, caused great turmoil.
Yeah, that's something we basically already knew too, but it's a bit more in depth.
Following the successful Urquan slave revolt, the Urquan met to decide how to ensure their freedom. The Green Urquan, who called themselves the Kazerza in honor of the Urquan who triggered the revolt, wished to establish the path of now and forever, which required that all other sentient species must become slaves of the Urquan, or be forever imprisoned beneath an impenetrable force shield. Leading the opposition to this plan was Korra, a charismatic fleet officer. Korra proposed a simpler alternative, the Eternal Doctrine. Simply put, this scheme called for the systematic eradication of all sentient life in the universe, aside from the Urquan. The captain, If these positions seem to you extreme or unwarranted, you must remember that the Urquan had been unwilling slaves for millennia, and that each of them had to remain in agony for years in order to defeat the Dini army. The followers of Khazar and Korra were all on the brink of madness, but neither side would submit, and so they fought a bloody civil war.
Yep. I like how they kind of made the main villains a bit, well, not necessarily sympathetic. Well, they're definitely sort of sympathetic, but they give them reasons for doing what they're doing.
This is the last historical item we have for sale. The civil war between the Green Urquan, the followers of Khazar, and their opponents, the death-dealing Korra, lasted for decades. It is likely that they would have annihilated each other were it not for a chance discovery by Khazar, a precursor battleship. The vessel was huge, many times the size of the Urquan's vessels. The precursor ship sliced through the Korra forces in days. The Korra were defeated. However, in their victory, the Khazar were humble. They realized that there was a chance that they were wrong, and the Korra were right. Instead of destroying the Korra, the Khazar let them go, directing them to make their way through the stars, traveling against the spin of the galaxy. The Khazar would travel in the opposite direction, and when the two Urquan forces met, they would fight again in ritual combat, with the precursor battleship given to the winner. Captain, this is happening here and now. The Khazar, the Urquan who enslaved Earth, are fighting their ritual battle against the Korra in a large area centered near the Craterus constellation. If the Korra win this battle, Captain, the Khazar will stand aside and let them kill us all. We believe it is your destiny to prevent this from happening. We regret to say that you have exhausted our supply of genuinely valuable information. However, we do have many thousands of useless facts, and that we will gladly sell you at a substantial discount. Are you interested? We thought not.
So basically we have everything we can get from them now. Let's buy them fuel, I guess.
How much fuel? Fuel.
I only needed one. Okay.
It has been a pleasure dealing with you, Captain. We look forward to your next visit.
And that'll be the last time we ever see the Melniray. Alright. The Udwig and the Supox are getting closer to the Urquan, and the Thredash and the Ilrath are now covering each other. We learned where the we already knew where Beetlejuice, where the Cyrene were on Beetlejuice, but we also finally learned where the Mycons are. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to use our quasi-portal to go to Beetlejuice and talk to them a bit more. And that is... I think the closest place would be near the Spathy, so... Here. No. Here. So, yeah, we're gonna go there and talk to them, and I'll be back. Alright, we're back here. And, is it the first or second? I think it's the first. Yeah, here we go. Go talk to Commander What's-Her-Face.
Hello again, pleasant human. It warms me to greet you again. Yes, I think so. Aren't they part of the Mycon religion somehow? We have recordings of Mycon hyperwave transmissions from the war. Pretty weird stuff. The Mycons just kind of rambled, never making much sense. They talked a lot about deep children and spears of light, but we couldn't ever understand what they were talking about.
Well, let's tell this.
What? What did you say? Human, you had better not be joking. Syra is not a subject for Earth humor. Now, what do you mean, Shattered Planet Plus? How? That is what happened to Syra, yes. But we presumed it was a natural cataclysm, a meteor. Do you have proof that it was something else? These deep children?
Yeah, we don't have proof yet.
Captain, if what you say is true, it would turn my world upside down. You have no sorrow to match what each of us Cyrene feels every day of our lives when we remember what we have lost. Syra, our Eden, the very idea that the Mycons or any alien race may have been responsible for Syra's destruction fills me with burning rage. If it were true, none of us here would rest until we had avenged ourselves on the perpetrators. We would find some way to leave this starbase, locate our starships, and hunt down the evil monsters. Captain, if you ever gather proof of what you say, you must inform us immediately. But until then, do not mention the subject again. It is too painful. Until then, Earthling.
Okay. Well, we were told where their planet was and stuff, so it is at over here. Oops. 1, 2, 4, 6, 600 and 2. Oops. 63. Here. Yeah. Oops. I didn't go there. Alright, I'm gonna go there, and I'll be back. Alright, so we're here. Let's head over to the first planet. Almost all homeworlds are the first planet. So, and I don't know if there's anything here valuable that we want. Well, there is something, but not anything. See, one of these shattered worlds. And there's some stuff, but Tectonics Class 7. There's an energy scan right here. So that's what we need to get. Okay, near an unusual volcanic fumarole, we've discovered a fragment of some kind of biological encasement or shell, which is made of incredibly tough, heat-resistant mat of fungal fibers. We found one of these earlier. No sign of any life form, which hatched from its egg shell, and we'll bring it back to the flagship for further study. This is the Mycon 8 case. We found another one and gave it to the Druge to get a lot of stuff. So, not really anything useful here, I don't think. Yeah. Garbage. Alright, so basically what we're supposed to do now is go back to the Cyrene and give them the evidence. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, we're back here. Interesting to note is the shrinking size of the Ilrath and I believe the Utwig are shrinking as well. If you sent the Thredash against the Korra, they'll basically kill themselves, as the Utwig are doing now. Sort of. The Utwig will eventually leave, I believe, so, but they're helping out. Anyway, let's go back and tell Commander Talana, or whatever her name is, what we found. Herp. Steering.
Welcome back, Earthling.
Hello.
What do you wish of us? Let me see this proof, Captain.
I got your proof right here.
Great gods! These fragments, they are identical to the debris we found near the punctures on Syra. We never guessed that the fragments might be organic. To have survived re-entry, nothing organic would remain. Unless it was genetically constructed for this purpose. And only the Mycons possess this capability. The Mycons will pay dearly for their crimes. We will not sit here and do nothing while the Mycon fiends are free to roam the galaxy, perpetrating their evil. You wanted our cooperation in fighting the Urquan. You've got it. Provided you first help us seek our revenge against the Mycon race. Help us to destroy them.
No, let's ask this.
You will receive more gratitude than you know what to do with, Captain.
Uh-oh.
Our first step is to get some mobility. We have some fine starship officers aboard, and they're all eager to go after the Mycons. But without our penetrator starships, we're totally ineffectual. So our first step has to be recovering our Space Patrol combat fleet. We know that the Urquan didn't destroy them. They never waste anything. But we believe they have sealed them in some kind of deep vault in the surface of an alien planet. No, that's your job. But maybe we have some clues to help you find them. The starship officers who flew the penetrators to the vault did so with total sensor blackout. The only thing they could use for navigation was the presence of the Dreadnought fleet surrounding them. When they arrived at their destination and lowered their ships into the immense vault, they were transported to the Dreadnoughts and only caught a split-second glimpse of the outside world. As far as they could tell, the sun was either red or orange. Based on the trip time calculations, the farthest they could have traveled is about 200 hyperspace distance units. Captain, we've assembled a small team of our most skilled officers. We will send them to your ship on board their own small shuttle. We feel that in the interest of efficiency, we keep our officers away from your crew, at least until the mission is over. As soon as you arrive at the vault, our people will take over. Figure out a way to open the vault and bring our penetrators back here.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this.
Good luck, brave Earthling. When your mission is successful, maybe then we can get to know each other better.
Ooh. Old games. Okay. So, now we need to go... Basically, we need to find something within 200 hyperspace units with an orange or red star. Well, this is really the only thing close by that we haven't been to. And this, I believe, is the one we need. That would be... Yep. Actually, there's a warp point near there, so I'm gonna go there. And we'll find their ships. I realize I really kind of haven't been doing this, but the warp point we need to go is right here. And that puts us right here. So we need to go there. Alright, here we are. At the planet thing. Alright. And we'll go here. I don't remember if it's on the moon Or not. Let's scan them both. Ew. Stink planet. Let's scan it again. Yep, nothing there. Okay. I forgot that it looks the same. Okay. Nothing much there. Oh, there we go. So, down to Goblin Town. Open the subterranean vault, which contained the Cyrene Space Patrol Penetrator starships. The Cyrene captains have assumed command of their vessels and instructed us to rendezvous with them back at Beetlejuice. You saw there I got struck by lightning just as that happened. So, this is basically all we have to do here. So we can go back.